Hey ladies, so this month, as you know, the theme is marketing, and we have had boatloads of questions that are coming in about newsletters, which I think is an amazing topic. And I wanted to help provide some insight and some answers to questions that are coming up. So I've got two that actually break out into like some different topics. So we'll start with this one. Amanda asked, what's a reasonable schedule for sending out emails to your subscribers? Weekly? Bi-weekly? I'm leaning towards bi-weekly to ensure that I don't fall behind. So what I circled in this question is the word reasonable. And I want you to think about this in terms of two different camps. There's what's reasonable to you, meaning to you as the business owner who is creating the content. There's also what's reasonable to your audience, meaning is it something that they want to receive? Is it something of value, something that they're going to continue to stick around for? So let's break those two things out. One, reasonable for you, the person doing it. What I always encourage any of you to do, anytime you're embarking upon something new, is to create a plan and commit to the plan. If you have been executing no newsletters, it's probably going to be an uphill battle to start doing them weekly. So I would say, fine, start doing them bi-weekly, or maybe doing them once a month even, until you get your feet underneath you and understand what that looks like. So I want you to stretch a little bit. I don't want it to be just like, oh, it's easy, I can do that. And I do want it to be a meaningful tactic in your business. And newsletters are a wonderful tool to use for marketing. They are the one-on-one communication with people who have said that they want to hear from you. So yes, we want to give them what they want. But the key is I need you to commit to executing it. So if you say like, I'm leaning towards bi-weekly to ensure that I don't fall behind, that's a pretty good indicator that right now is probably not the time to say go weekly. But maybe you say, between now and the end of the year, I'm going to do a bi-weekly newsletter, and then I'm going to assess in November whether or not I want to go to weekly starting in January. Just an idea. Now, part two of this is it reasonable for your audience? Though there's only one thing that matters here, is the content of value to them. Now let's remember, there is lots of types of content. So just like when you're creating social media posts, they can be educational and informational, they can be entertaining, they can be behind the scenes where you're sharing stuff that's going on back in the work, they can be motivation, they can be any number of things. And it's the same thing with a newsletter. So what immediately came to mind is like, I get a newsletter from my accountant. A lot of the things on his newsletter are dates that are coming up for filings. And of course, that's very educational and informational, right? When we send out newsletters, oftentimes it's like there's stuff that's coming up. We want to share our events, and that's something that our community wants to know about. They're interested in that information, right? So it's really understanding your audience and what types of information they want to receive from you. And really good ways to get information about that is like, what types of things are they already responding to? You can ask them questions, just like one of the things we went through today in our workshop with Rachel Gruber is about asking your community what they want, getting qualitative data. That's a really great way to get an idea of what people would like to hear from you. It can also be from really popular blog posts that you've written before. So it will be reasonable to your audience as long as they value the content that you're sending their way, right? Sometimes it's just purely promotional sales newsletters. Like think about how many, like I get them from hotels.com. They'll send out one that says like 50% off, or Frontier Airlines, whatever the case may be. People subscribe to newsletters for all kinds of different reasons. So it's just understanding their motivation and what they want to see from you. Now, part two of this is we do want to be cognizant. If we're saying, okay, I'm going to commit to executing this every 2 weeks and sending it out, then we do want to have a plan for what's going in that. And I definitely suggest that you create a template that you use and you start from that every single time you build a newsletter. Now we have different versions of that. So we have a master newsletter that we send out every week that goes out on Tuesdays. We have an insiders newsletter, like for you guys in the member circle, that goes out on Wednesdays. Those are very different templates, but we already have it. We know what it looks like. And so when we go create it, we just need to plug and play the content that's living in that newsletter, right? So create a template so you have a framework for it, and then think about the content that needs to go in there. And of course, remember, we want to make sure it's something of value, and you also want to be offering people how they can work with you. So if you're a coach and you want to make sure that your audience is aware that you're taking coaching clients, say that. If you have something that's on special or on sale, say that. Put those things in your newsletter, but be sure that the content is of value to your audience. Now, related to this was another question from Christine, and she says, how many newsletters in do you review how they're going? And how do you evaluate wins or losses? Which is a really great question. So let's just assume at this point you've been sending newsletters, but you want to understand if they're effective. Awesome question. So many of you are using MailChimp, and that's what we use, so I'm going to reference that for this answer, but no matter what service you're using, you're going to find very similar tools inside of your account. So the first thing is, I don't look at newsletter analytics right after they're sent, because typically people don't open those newsletters right when they come out. So like many of you will open the newsletters from us a day or 2 days later. So oftentimes it can take about a week to get really good data on how a specific newsletter performed. But once we can see that, we can look and see a number of things. What was the open rate? So like of how many people you sent it to, how many people actually opened it. We can also see when they opened it. So typically there's like a graph or a chart that's going to show you from the time you sent it all the way through, like say the next 24, 48 hours, when did it actually get opened? That data is really, really useful. So looking at that is going to give you good indicators about like, okay, which day of the week did this work really well? What time of day did this work really well? And MailChimp also has a feature that lets you, it's in a paid account. It will not be in a free account, but it has a feature that helps you send it at a time when people are most likely to open it. And the way that they're able to do that is because those email addresses are in numbers of different email lists. So like, let's just say, Christine, your email is on our list, but your email may also be on 4 other companies' email list inside of MailChimp. So they use their robot analytics to help you decide when to send your newsletter. It's pretty cool. So it's some AI that can really help you get it scheduled at the right time. But I believe that's a paid feature. Now, another part of this is understanding what people are clicking on. So if we dig into each individual newsletter, we can see how many clicks there were and then what content they clicked on. That tells us what people are interested in. So if an email got no clicks, that doesn't necessarily mean it was inherently bad or wrong, but if 100% of our audience opened it, which is an unlikely number, if 50% of your audience opened it, but no one clicked it, we might not be connecting with them about a message they care about, or it's not something they're interested in, or maybe we didn't even make it clear that there was something to click on, right? We can also look at it and see like, oh God, a bunch of people clicked on this one thing. That's cool, because that tells us there is interest, and you can also create new filters and new audiences based on clicks. So let's say that in Christine's example, she's a photographer. So let's say she put up a promotion and she put that into her newsletter and she ran that for like 3 newsletters. She can now go look and see who clicked on the link, and then create a custom audience of all those people who clicked, and now send them a new newsletter just to the people who clicked and say, hey, I saw that you were interested in this. Last chance, get it now before it's gone. You follow me? So you can use this in a pretty advanced way if you're looking at it. Now, another thing you do want to look at is your subscriber base. We want to be growing our email subscribers consistently over time. Now, that means we do need to be inviting people to join our email list. That we're going to need to tackle in a different video. But the key is we want to look at our subscribers over time, because chances are every newsletter you send out, you're going to lose some subscribers. We always do. There's always someone at some point that decides they want to unsubscribe. Do not look and see who it is. It doesn't matter. And remember, that's about them. It's not about you. So I don't like a bunch of newsletters coming into my inbox. I unsubscribe from them all the time. But it doesn't mean that I don't care about the business or I'm not interested in the business. Sometimes I just don't want the emails, right? I might follow them on social media and be happy with that and feel like I'm well connected enough to their brand, right? So I strongly discourage you from looking at the individual unsubscribes. What I do want you to do is look at it on a macro level and to understand If we're getting mass unsubscriptions, it's telling us that we have a real miss on content, meaning we're sending stuff to them that they do not like. So let's just give an example. If every newsletter you sent was just selling, and we got a bunch of unsubscribes, it could be people just saying like, stop, enough. Like, you got to stop with this madness. You're not providing anything of value here, and I don't want to hear you pitch your thing one more time. Come to me and show me something of value. Maybe then we're getting people back in our audience. So it's just being really mindful of what's happening with the content and how your audience is interacting with it. And over time, you will build a body of data that will tell you that. So my recommendation, Christine, coming back to like, how far in do we review it? I just suggest right now looking at it once a month. That's it. Once a month, set some time, go look and see what happened over the course of the past month. Look at your total subscribers. Look at the number that have unsubscribed. Look to see what people have clicked on. Look to see what the open rate has been. Look to see what time of day has been working to send the newsletter, or what day of the week has been working. And this gives you the opportunity to test things too, which is great. And make some decisions and then test them in the next month. And then at the end of that month, go look and see what happened and test them again. You don't need to look at it more frequently than that. And of course, over time, you can look at it for the quarter going back, and there's going to be some insights from that. So the body of work, the body of data gets better over time, but the key is we have to do the activity to really have good data. So to me, the key is do the damn newsletter. And I know for many of you, there's hang-ups on like getting started, but I can assure you, you're overthinking it. It's just like everybody who's like, I don't like this blog, and I wrote it and I rewrote it and I deleted it and I started again. Nobody, and I mean this from my heart, nobody cares about it as much as you do. But what does matter in order to build a brand and to market is that you do put your voice and your words and your image out into the world. You have to do it. People will respond to some of it. They won't respond to others, and that's okay. That's totally okay. Like, we don't get 100% open rates. There's newsletters we send out that don't get a 15% open rate, but I don't worry about it. I know I just need to keep showing up there and sending it out and understanding what types of content you guys want to hear from us, and that we keep sending that. You'll get that over time. So just take your time, do the work. And I encourage you, if you've drafted a newsletter and you're not sure if it looks good or feels good or has good content, send it to someone to let them take a peek at it and just see what they think. It could be someone in the tribe. You can often share like a link to a newsletter before it's gone out, like a test link, and let us take a peek at it inside the member circle. So anyway, get it done. You got this. If you have any other questions about newsletters, let me know, but I hope this answers a little bit of that, and we'll be visiting with some of these other questions about marketing throughout the course of the month. I've got a couple people coming on to join me for some conversations about a few of these that I am not skilled enough in to answer, so more to come. All right, y'all have a good day. Talk to you soon.